Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is PhoenixGlobal and this is the Syzygy Network, bringing you some Season 1 highlights and league play. This particular map is the map Carrier, and we are playing Hardpoint, and this strategy revolves around my strategy on winning at Hardpoint. And as you can see, I'm using the tactical insertion, and if you have seen my other videos, you know that's not a big surprise. I'm a big fan of tactical insertion in league play. But I'm also using the Riot Shield, and this particular strategy that I like to use with Hardpoint is all about the Riot Shield. And the reason why I find it to be the most successful is just because of how Hardpoint is played. And you're basically, Hardpoint, you're taking all of the combat across the map that would normally be occurring across the map, like if you're playing Domination and all that, and all the gunfights that would be happening all across the map, and you're focusing it into one spot, the Hardpoint. And so it makes for very high-paced gameplays, and it just makes for a whole lot of gunfights happening in a very small space. And so when it comes to winning Hardpoint, it's all about staying power. It's all about knowing where the Hardpoint's going to be, getting there first, and being able to stay there. Because the majority of the time, you know, if your team actually knows what they're doing, if they can get there first, and everybody just kind of takes a corner, you know, the other team really can't do anything at that point. Especially when, you know, there are certain hard points. Like on this map, a lot of them are open. Like this particular hard point on this map is probably the biggest hard point in the entire game on any map. It's just massive, but it's the whole landing space. But, you know, a lot of maps, like Hijacked, for example, most of the hard points are tight spaces. And so as long as you get there first and you have, you know, 2, 3, 4 teammates that can take a corner, there is no way the enemy team is getting in there and is going to be able to do anything important. So, as far as staying power, that's the key to winning Hardpoint. So I use the Riot Shield. It doesn't make for some very exciting gameplay, so it took me a while here to get something that I could use, because a lot of it's just me sitting there, because that's just the nature that I like to play Hardpoint, to win it. In order to win it, you know, I find it's easier just to kind of sit there with a Riot Shield and pick people off when I can, because like I said, just the way Hardpoint is, you're taking all the combat in the entire map and you're focusing in on one spot, and it just makes for ridiculous scenarios where people are just shooting at each other constantly. This map's a little bit bigger, so it's not as intense, but as far as the Riot Shield goes, I'm using Blackjack, and I'm using the Riot Shield, obviously. I'm using Fast Hands, and I'm using Tactical Mask, and it's pretty obvious, the perks, why I'm using the perks that I'm using. I'm sitting there with a Riot Shield, you know, with Tactical Mask, you can pretty much throw anything at me, and it's not going to do much, and Blackjack at the same thing. So if you want me to die, essentially, you're going to have to come shoot me. That's the whole point of the setup. And so, basically, in order to win with this setup, unless the other team is absolutely horrible, you do actually have to have teammates that are willing to play the objective and that are really going to rush with you and try to get to the hard point. Because my role that I play with the Riot Shield is slightly less aggressive. My role, sir, it's two purposes. Number one, in this gameplay, I wasn't really familiar with the hard points on Carrier, so I actually didn't do a whole lot of pre-capturing, but on most maps, using this setup, I will attempt, at least, to pre-cap every single hardpoint. And so, role number one with this Riot Shield class is to get to every new hardpoint first, be there to pre-capture it, and then attempt to hold it. So that's role number one, is to pre-capture all the hardpoints. Role number two, however, is two purposes. First, you know, obviously I provide some element of backup. I am using C4. I do have a secondary pistol, so I can kill enemies as they try to approach the hardpoint. But the key here is also to provide, again, staying power, because the way Hardpoint works, the way the scoring works with Hardpoint, is it does not matter how many people are in that hardpoint. If you just have one person in that hardpoint, that's enough to contest it. So let's say your whole team, 6 people, you know, on the other team are in the hardpoint. Let's say you had came in with the Riot Shield, and this happens plenty of times. You know, I come in with the Riot Shield, I pre-cap a hardpoint, and then for some reason the rest of my team isn't really there, but the enemy team swarms all in and is all there. Just my existence in that hardpoint is enough to contest the hardpoint and prevent them from getting points. Even if all 6 of their teammates are in there, as long as I'm there alive, that's enough to prevent them from getting points. And so that's essentially my job, is I try to pre-capture it, and when my team gets there, hopefully we can hold it. But if we don't, my job is to stay alive as long as possible to prevent them from getting points. Because there's been plenty of times, and that's why this class is successful, there's been plenty of times where, you know, we've pre-capped it, my team comes in, we hold it for a little bit, they die, and then the other team is there, and they're trying to get points, and then they're like, wait a minute, you know, why we're not getting points? Because it remains contested, because I'm just sitting there with the riot shield contesting it. You know, and it's a more passive style of gameplay, but honestly, I'm not a big fan of Hardpoint, but this is a good strategy, because it allows you to contest the hardpoint, and they have to come find you. Now, obviously, it works better when you have the lead, because when you have the lead, you don't really need points necessarily, you just need to contest it from them. So it works especially well when you have the lead, because I'll just go hide in some random corner of the hardpoint with a riot shield, and, you know, first it takes them a good few seconds to figure out that it's being contested and they have to come find me, and secondly, then they have to come find me, and then they have to come kill me, which a lot of times, you know, they have a hard time, or at the very least it takes them, you know, a few seconds, because I'm using a riot shield, they shoot me a little bit, they try to flash me, whatever. So normally the strategy works out pretty well. Carrier, again, not a big fan of Carrier. I didn't really know the hard points on Carrier, and frankly, a lot of the hard points are big open spaces that are not really conducive to using the riot shield to begin with. But as you can see here, again, is a perfect example. We have a slight lead. They are looking to take it right now. They're trying to tie it up. It's being contested right now, but I'm already rushing the next hardpoint because they are being cycled through for a second time, so now I at least know where they are this time, so I am making an attempt to pre-cap it, as you can see here. So here we are. They had a solid control of that last hardpoint, so I said, screw it, let's go to the next one. And boom, pre-capture. Now, as far as kill streaks go, kill streaks are harder to obtain when it comes to using the riot shield. Your best bet is to combine a whole lot of shield assists and a few kills here and there, and the pre-capture points are critical if you want to get any sort of kill streak. But I would recommend Scavenger with as far as another perk potentially, as opposed to Fast Hands, which is what I was using. As a general rule, when it comes to pre-capturing, I normally try to leave the hardpoint and go to the next one at about 20 seconds left. That's normally enough time to get to the next one and pre-cap it. It becomes difficult, though, if you are looking at a team that's also trying to pre-capture it. That causes problems. But essentially, it's a pretty good strategy, and it throws a lot of people off, and they don't know what to do. And as long as you have some sort of team that is willing to assist you, because, again, this is a support role that I'm playing in this game. So it does require teammates that are going to try to, you know, get in and kill people and actually, you know, function, because if you are doing it yourself, it doesn't work. I mean, I've had plenty of games where you try to do this, but your team's just not there, and, you know, then the best you can do is contest it for a few seconds, and then they kill you. So it really makes it very difficult to do. But, you know, it is what it is. And just like any other game type, it does require teamwork. But if you get a fair team that's gonna, you know, come in and actually kill people and attempt to capture the hardpoint, it works out pretty well. And again, this was with, you know, a bunch of randoms. So this wasn't like it was a big party or anything. I was just doing my thing, and it was enough to win. So, but that's essentially what you're looking at here, is a hardpoint game, and that's how you go about winning on hardpoint. So stay tuned for more strategy and gameplay videos coming soon. I'm PhoenixGlobal, and I'm out.